The Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera is probably one of the most versatile cameras that's out on the market right now in my opinion, and in today's video I'm going to show you what I did to build this out as a portable run and gun rig. What's going on everybody? My name is Jordan Pulmano and I am a filmmaker based in Central California. If this is your first time checking out the channel, welcome. I hope you enjoyed this video. About a month and a half ago, I picked up the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. I wanted to build out a little cinema rig that was 1, portable, 2, practical, and 3, cost effective. So I didn't want to spend a bunch of money. I had a budget that was under $3,000, so I wanted to get the most bang for my buck. So all these pieces here that I got, I built specifically so that I could bring this along on traveling jobs and other situations that are very run and gun, very quick. But I also wanted to be able to build it out as a proper cinema rig if I needed to. But as far as this kit right here, this is just kind of a minimal run and gun setup that I think is perfect for what I need it for. So I'm gonna go piece by piece and build this camera up, and then I'll kind of talk a little more about it. Starting with the camera body, I have this housed in a small rig cage. I got this off of Amazon, and I'll be sure to leave a link for all of these in case you're interested in buying any of them. On the side, we have this cable clamp that just keeps my SSD and my HDMI plugged in here so that you can't pull them out. And then on top, we've got the SSD holder. Now, one of the drawbacks to this camera is that it sucks batteries like crazy. It uses the Canon LPE6 batteries. So I got this battery off of Amazon. This is the Core SWX power base. I love this battery because it uses a quick release plate. You just toss it on the bottom and now you've got this battery rocking here. You throw this into the battery slot and pop it in like that, and now you've got about 2 hours or a little over 2 hours of battery life per battery. So I got 2 of these. I've been running these things like crazy. You can get all day use out of them. You use one for 2.5 hours, throw it on the charger, grab another one. By the time that's charged, this one's dying, and you can just kind of cycle that through. And they also have USB ports on them, so you can charge phones, you can power other items on here. I'm actually going to get a cable that'll run to my monitor so I can charge it or power it straight from the battery. The only downside to this battery is there's really no off switch on it, so it's basically always draining power, I think because it has a little indicator here. So if you don't charge it for a couple days, you leave it in your bag, it is going to slowly drain. I know a lot of people have been putting their V-mount batteries on the back, which one blocks the back monitor, which is very important. You're using that monitor a lot, and even though it might balance out the camera, I think that having this on bottom overall fits better for what I need it for. Next up, let's talk about the adapter. I have the Metabones EF to micro four thirds mount T. It's the 0.64 times speed booster, which brings the crop from a 1.9 all the way down to a 1.22. So the reason I got the 4K instead of the 6K, one was because of budget. I didn't want to spend more than $3,000, and that body was like $2,000 used, $2,500 new. But if I got this, I can essentially get the same crop, the same sensor, minus maybe a little bit of depth of field because it is a smaller sensor. But overall, I'm really impressed with this Metabones adapter. It was very pricey, it was like $650, but now I can use all of my lenses and not have to worry about this insane crop, because I know that is a big thing with micro four thirds sensors and why people don't want to get this camera. All right, so let's move on to the top handle. This is a small rig handle from Amazon. Again, very cheap for what it is. I think the only thing I would change is that I would put this on like a NATO rail so that I can just slide it on and off. I have this top handle for kind of 2 purposes. One, obviously, to be able to grab this, you can get low angle shots and it's just another point of contact on the camera, but also I can throw the monitor on. One of the most important things I think you need with this camera is an external monitor. I have the FeelWorld 4K F6. This monitor is like under $200 on Amazon, and I've had monitors in the past on the cheaper end that just look like crap. And when I got this, I kind of expected it to look like crap until I started using it. I was insanely impressed with how sharp it is, how color accurate it is. This runs off of Sony batteries, or you can run it out of 12 volts. So you can plug it into this battery down here, which is what I plan to do just so I can have less weight up here. But I mean, these batteries last a surprisingly long time. This one that comes with the monitor doesn't last that long, maybe about an hour and a half or so. But I have a couple more that are actually maybe 30% bigger than this, and it lasts for 4 or 5 hours. It lasts all day long, and they're cheap. Again, you can get all this stuff on Amazon, very affordable. So I have this monitor on here. I just have a wooden camera hot shoe right here that I put onto the top handle, and then another small rig mounting thing here where I can twist it and turn it. And the reason I threw the monitor down here instead of just putting it on this hot shoe is because I feel like it's too high when I'm up here. So it just makes the camera unnecessarily tall, and I don't need the monitor up here on my face. I'd rather it be down here, a little more comfortable, and I can tilt it up right here. So that's kind of a better workflow for me. And yeah, overall, I freaking love this monitor. I'd highly recommend it. I plan on buying a couple more just to kind of have them around the office. Now let's talk about media. Now obviously the more popular route with this camera is running it off of the T5 Samsung SSD drives. I had this drive laying around so I didn't have to spend the money on that, although I do plan on getting another one. But this is the 1 terabyte version, which even recording at the lowest compression at 4K 24 or even 4K 60, you can record a lot of data onto this thing. And the best thing about it is this slot right here goes right in, close it up, plugs in right there, and now I can close up cables here so that way they're locked. Can't pull these out. Nothing's going to come undone or eject when you're recording. And since it's SSD, it's super fast. I can plug it straight into my MacBook Pro after I'm done shooting and honestly edit straight from there. I don't even have to pull the clips onto my hard drive right away. Next up, just a side handle. I got this, just a cheap like $30 handle off of Amazon. Honestly, it was pretty impressive for how cheap it is. I thought it was gonna be really crappy wood, but it's, you know, cut nicely, smooth, and it just gives me another point of contact for when I'm shooting. Just goes on like this on the side. Now I have 2 handles to rock here. I don't use it too much like this just because I do have to pull my own focus. So I usually have my hand down here and pull focus like that. I'm just gonna throw this on. For lenses, I have the L series 24-105 f4, and then I have the L series 16-35 2.8, which I'm recording this video on. I love these lenses. I mean, they're Canon lenses, they're L series, so they're incredibly sharp. I do want to get the Sigma R. I think they're a little better suited for this camera. I know the 18-35 basically with this turns it into a 24-70, so I'll probably plan on getting that in the future, but for now these lenses work great for this camera. And then I have the Tiffin variable ND, which I pretty much always have on this if I'm shooting outside. Okay, I'll talk about this sun shade right here real quick. This just goes on the back here when I'm outside because you still do, even though you have a monitor up here, you're still doing a lot of stuff on the monitor on the back here, so it's nice to have the sunshade when you're outside and it's bright, because this is a pretty glossy screen you can see here. So when it's bright outside, you know, you get a lot of reflections and you can't really see that well. So I have that kind of just on standby for when I have to go out and shoot in bright environments. For audio, I've got the Rode mic, the Video Mic Pro. If I'm just using it as kind of reference and scratch audio, I use the 2 on-camera microphones here. These on-camera microphones are insanely impressive. I shot some stuff in my last video where I didn't have this microphone. I just shot on here. I didn't think it was gonna turn out because there's a little windy outside, and I was pretty far from the camera. I was probably about 5 feet away from the camera, and it turned out great. It was nice and crisp and bassy, and it sounded awesome. So it's definitely a usable audio source if you need it. So that's my run and gun build of this camera. Once it's built up, you can see it's nice and portable. I mean, this thing has a little bit of weight to it, but just enough to where it's comfortable to hold and it kind of stabilizes your shots. But I love this setup. I love that I can put this in a backpack and go and shoot really fast. A lot of the stuff that I shoot usually is live events and concerts, so I want to have something that is cinematic, but I also want something that I can travel with, because if I'm going through security a lot, you know, you don't want to have a big Red or a big R setup. It's just not practical for touring and traveling a lot. Now this isn't a review video by any means, but I wanted to talk about some of my favorite things about this camera. Now of course my opinions were based kind of with price in mind. I knew that this camera is under $3,000, the whole package was like $2,700, and I'm gonna base my opinions off of that. With that being said, my absolute favorite thing about this camera is the image that you get with the price that you pay. You get 12-bit color, you can shoot 4K up to 60 frames, you get 13 stops of dynamic range, and you're getting raw video. As far as user interface goes, I feel like Blackmagic really nailed it with this camera. I mean, your menu system here is very simple to use. You've got your record, monitor, audio, setup, preset, LUTs, everything right here, and within there are like different subsections. With the touch of a button, you can literally change all of your different settings, change your compressions, change it from Blackmagic RAW to ProRes. All of your different settings that you need to change are right here on the screen, which is nice. And also when you're shooting, you can change your ISO, you can change your f-stop, everything with this little scroll wheel, which is basically like using a DSLR. I'll finish it off with two settings that I think were kind of a selling point for me. One being false color, and two being LUTs in the camera. So I set my custom buttons up to where I can turn false color on and off and my LUT on and off with the press of a button. Being able to load LUTs in here is so awesome because I'm able to kind of monitor my shooting style and my exposures based on how it's going to look and how my final image is going to look. So I load the LUTs on here that I'm likely going to use as kind of a starting point for my color, and being able to turn that on and off and gauge, okay, here's my flat look, here's my LUT, how do I need to adjust this, how do I need to shoot to make it look the best that it possibly can. I think it's such a huge benefit for shooting. And of course, false color, being able to toggle that on and off and make sure that your footage is exposed in the areas that you want it exposed. So if I'm going from indoors to outdoors, or maybe it's a cloudy day and a huge cloud covers the sun, you have to adjust your exposure there, turn on the false color, check it out, see what parts of your image are exposed, underexposed, overexposed, and you kind of fix it there. Other than that, the build of this is just, I feel like, perfect for what I do, having this little handheld rig that I can also throw on a Glidecam or kind of change it around how I need to very fast. When I want to throw it into my bag and change locations, I can literally just pop this off, pop handles off, whatever I need to do, throw it into the bag, pull it back out, toss this back on, and I'm ready to shoot without having to spend too much time adjusting and breaking down the camera. That's all I have for this video. I just wanted to make a quick video kind of showing the run and gun setup build in case you're looking to do the same with your camera. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I'm trying to put videos out as consistently as possible, especially during this weird time that we're in. But other than that, I'll see you all in the next one.